Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, December 10th. December 19th. Gotta read both numbers when reading a date. We've gotten some slight nerfs that I guess I didn't really talk about. So we've got a challenge a friend with nobody online. I forgot to do that. I've got a play 50 Murlocs and play a bunch of cards, and we've got a tavern brawl. Now the good news is that I figured out how to win this pretty easily. The bad news is that you just get this card back, so might as well get it. Doesn't even really matter what I play because I'm going to play a strategy here that I worked perfectly the first time, and I think it will work perfectly fine the second time and every time. So what I'm gonna do is make a deck full of legendaries because we're going to trade decks with the other player. So that seems like that would give a great advantage to the player, that they could play all these legendary cards. But actually it doesn't, because what is going to happen is you're going to have a ridiculously expensive deck. This is actually not going to work as well as I would have liked it to, but this still should do it. Because by the 5th turn, I can play the return receipt card that we're going to get and get all those legendaries back. So the only cards that this player could theoretically play is this one, this one, this one, and this one. And normally speaking, I would have more legendaries, but this is my European account, so we'll have to make do with what we have. I guess that also means that if I was playing against someone else that has like no cards, they couldn't beat me using that same strategy, like a brand new player with no legendaries. Suppose that's how that would break down.
Thrall versus Jaina.
You asked for it.
For Doomhammer.
So you picked 20 cards and then you get 10 spells, so I want to just trade out the expensive things and then get the cheap things, and that's about as good as it's going to get. And then they're going to swap Happy Winter Veil. At least they're not saying the Happy Winter Veil.
The legions
I can say it though if I greet people. Like, that's just a straight up sound bite from previously. Random thing or wait a turn. I'm gonna hold on to the mana. So we've got a little bit to talk about as far as games that came out, but certainly not a lot of games have come out. It's not super surprising there. So right now I'm playing whatever cards this character has in his deck, which are probably not super expensive cards. Alright, so we've got a game on Steam over here called Wrench, which looks like it is a VR actual, like, working on an engine simulation game. And I know nothing, or, well, nothing is an exaggeration. I know very little about working on engines, and I wouldn't ever think myself capable of tearing apart an entire engine. But this might be an interesting idea. So $19.99, requires VR, it's in early access. Or maybe it doesn't require VR. It has traditional desktop mouse and keyboard play mode in addition to a VR mode. So I could play this also without VR. This looks interesting. Like, if you were a kid who was thinking about working on cars, this would be a game for you.
I wonder.
Let's see, 5 damage to the hero. And let's see. We'll do that too. We'll give this guy Wind Fury next turn. Also, we only have like 20 health to start off with. Yeah, Wrench. Intriguing. I was not expecting to see anything of quality come out so close to the end of the year. Now, of course, this could be like a really, really bad simulation. I don't even know if you really want it to be a game. It just could be really, really bad, though. Let's see. Change the cost of all your minions in your deck to 1. Oh, sweet. I am going to do that. So next turn I'm playing this, refresh your mana crystal, swap decks. And destroy their gift receipt. This is amazing. I'm gonna stretch this out. Play this. So now my cards are back to mine. So I've got all these legendaries. And store 7 health. Yeah, we can restore 14 health instead. Just gonna do this. See, I just want to focus on this because this is actually an interesting game. Alright. So we play this.
Job's done.
Now I've got all kinds of legendaries for 1 mana. Give up, you've lost. Unless you can figure out a way to do a considerable amount of damage.
That belongs in a museum.
Ah, I played that wrong. I played that card totally wrong. I should have played it earlier. There we go. 2 damage to all people. And summon a copy of that. And how's this gonna work? I'm gonna lose. It was fun though. Fun, but failure. Interesting.
Happy feast of winter day.
Interesting game. Interesting. Well, I don't see a real reason to change my deck. That strategy probably will work eventually. While that's loading, we've got a game over here called Owl Simulator, which looks like an extremely low effort kind of asset flip game. Like, it seems like you're Russian anonymous for typical creepy Russian building. Like, what does that have to do with anything at all? As far as that name, English language not supported. Just like, yeah. Extremely, extremely low effort video game. Next, we have a game on Steam called Fightress VR, which is probably just Tetris in VR. It's a flat 2D Tetris. I imagine it's mostly multiplayer. I've seen a couple other of these Tetris and VR games that make no sense at all. Early access requires VR. $5.99 discounted. Says it's single player, but I really doubt that there's actually too much single player content you can have there. Let's see. This isn't video game related, but board game related. TechRaptor has an article. Monopoly gets cheesy with a new pizza board theme. So it's interesting looking, certainly. Instead of Monopoly in general as a real estate analogy, it's more of a pizza analogy, although I think it's still pretty much a real estate analogy. I don't think it's going to go into too much detail as far as running a pizza restaurant and how that is part of a real estate issue too, because certainly you can have two identical pizza restaurants and one fail and one succeed just based on where the location is. Let's see, well, we'll play
Access denied.
Job done.
Do that. Looks kind of cool. Maybe a little busy on the board itself, but just a lot of animation.
Reporting for duty.
Okay. Do I want to play a coin? I can't play a coin, so we'll play Taunt.
Out of my jungle.
And discover Taunt minion. How many totems do I have? There we go.
Deploying countermeasures.
Job's done.
Next we have a game on Steam called Moochie Moochie Boy. Stretch, slide, solve puzzles, collect slimes, it says. Seems like this is a pretty simplistic game. It might be a cell phone port, or it's just somebody that doesn't understand like widescreen 16:9 ratio. Whatever this is though, it seems like it's super simplistic. It's $1.79 discounted. Yeah, it's kind of a Pac-Man clone, I guess is what it is, but a puzzle-ish, like Pac-Man clone. Interesting. But not interesting enough to actually deserve to be on the wish list or the follow list. Alright. So at this point, do I want to switch back? Yes. See, 3 to 6 damage in one overload.
Deploying countermeasures.
Gamasutra has an article. PUBG now has over 200 million registered players on mobile alone. So PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds still doing pretty well.
Reporting for duty.
Although, you know, with just every day, it feels like there isn't a new edition happening. So the question comes down to, like, what, if anything,
I don't have enough mana.
should they add to maintain or grow an audience?
Deploying countermeasures.
Go away!
Let's go ahead and hit that. Gamasutra has an article, take advantage of business matchmaking to make connections at GDC 2019. This is, yeah, Gamasutra being owned by the same parent company as GDC is owned by. This is cross promotion, hidden as an article. Although they do disclose at the bottom, Gamasutra and GDC are sibling organizations under the parent company of Informa. The thing that's always weird about, like, I don't even know how you phrase it. Networking, I guess, is the right phrase. The thing that's weird about networking is it is inherently the beginning of nepotism, is what it is. There's no way to get around that. You network, you become friends with these with people in your same industry, and then that friendship that you develop leads to an advantage at some point where they get you some kind of work, or they get you hired on at their company. And it's not egalitarian. It's not about companies hiring the most qualified person for the job. It's about who you know, and that's a shame. I don't know if there's a way to fix that or improve on that, but it is a shame. But that's how it goes. I assume that's what this article is, and this isn't matchmaking as in dating. And see, there kind of has to be some equal footing on a lot of this networking anyways, because a brand new indie developer is not going to walk up to somebody like Shigeru Miyamoto and all of a sudden have an in with him, and that's going to lead to any way of improving, like, a relationship or a career path or something. So if you were a brand new out of college programmer and you go to GDC, you're not going to be allowed to talk to many people. You're just going to be some small indie dev talking to another small indie dev. And GDC in general, that's everybody in the audience is just these aspiring small indie devs listening and paying money to listen to people who think they know better, when really they, for the most part, just got lucky or at a different point in their life and career. So if I was a small indie dev and making a game, I don't think I'd go to GDC or anything like that. I don't think that most of these speeches are worth listening to. I don't think that they have much to say. And networking would really be the only reason why I would go to something like that, is just to try to make connections. But with also networking comes the concept of groupthink. You're gonna have to kiss the ring, as it were, and claim to believe everything that the people giving the speeches are saying.
Your nightmare.
Vengeance.
Moving on, GameIndustry.biz has an article. Consumer advocates want the FTC to investigate kids apps. The group files formal complaint alleging COPPA violations, the Child Online Privacy Act, and spotlights on inappropriate titles. Let's see. It's the Child Online Privacy Protection Act is COPPA, and violations of its own policies on children's apps in the Google Play Store. Why specifically the Google Play Store? Yeah, this is a direct complaint against Google instead of the developers of those specific games, which doesn't seem like that's fair. That seems like that's more politics. Like, almost certainly that these advocates are Republicans who are upset with Google for not censoring the search results so that Republican politicians get better results than what they get. But I mean, this is the exact same thing that has been happening in Europe for a couple of years now, is that all the European politicians want to be able to censor Google so that, and they pass laws to do it in some cases. The right to remain anonymous, for instance, which is really just a limitation on the global concept of free speech. But yeah, politicians who do bad things around the world want Google to hide the fact that they're doing bad things, or politicians that are not popular want to hide the fact that they're unpopular. I could do this, but it probably wouldn't win. I could do this. See, I've got to do something. So we need to play like this, and then play like this, and then play like this.
Well played.
Let's see. NBC News reports that the group led by the Institute for Public Representation at Georgetown University Law School, a campaign for a commercial-free childhood, and the Center for Digital Democracy comprises nearly 24 different consumer advocates. Together, they claim Google misled parents both by promoting apps that violated COPPA as child-appropriate apps, as well as apps not suitable for children in general. Some of the apps cited as problematic in the group's 102-page complaint were concerning because they access the location of the device being used to run them. I will, to be fair, completely agree that there is something totally uncontrolled and unrestricted as far as the permissions that these apps want. And there might be reasons for it, but it doesn't feel like it does. Like there are good reasons. I know that a lot of the ads are basically looking for the location so that they can give you more local ads, which would be good for local companies. It's better that you see an ad for like the local bakery or the local pizza shop than it is that you see an ad for like a pizza shop or bakery that's like across the country, 400 miles away from you. That being said, kids shouldn't be seeing ads at all, I don't think. So I do agree with that. But I kind of question, why is this only Google? Like there's probably a little politics in that. It should totally also be Apple, unless I completely misunderstand where Apple is with their apps. Discover it and summon 2 copies of it. There we go.
Well played.
Well played.
Let's see.
Access denied.
There we go. We're done with that. It took a couple tries. And frankly, it's probably not even worth it to come into this point and find that card back, so I'm just going to stick with the card back that I have already. I do want to see why these cards are marked as new when they clearly aren't new, but let's see if we can mark all of those off. But like, to find the card back over here, well, it's a little bit easier this time. Whatever. And I guess the reason why they're giving you a card back is because this daily quest is giving you four of those, but that's not enough. Let's go ahead and add this person to the wish list and see if we can get them to agree so I can do challenge a friend. And then let's, while we're seeing that, so that we have hi, that's what they typed. Let's see. Challenge. Let's see, do I have anything Murloc? I have this thing labeled Murloc Paladin that I'll play, but I don't think is actually Murloc's. Let's see. And then they typed in thank you.
Uther versus Rexar.
Let's see, some of the apps cited were problematic because they access the location of the devices being used to run them, while others allegedly provide user profile information to advertising companies to to allow them to create targeted ads. Both of these actions are prohibited in apps targeted at children under age of 13. Other apps included in the complaint are not violations of COPPA, but do appear to violate Google's own stated policies on what qualifies as a children's game. For example, dentist game for kids, including giving a patient a shot in the back of the throat in Dr. X and the Urban Heroes, involving cutting clothing off an injured persons. Finally, several other apps were included due to a perceived overabundance of in-app purchases. Like, there are some really awful mobile game apps, so it would be nice if Google cleaned up its own mess there, its own marketplace, but yeah, I don't know which way to fall on this one. I guess at this point, if Google needs a threat of governmental regulation, more government regulation to clean up their mess, then I guess that's what's gonna happen. It's a shame. Google should have seen that coming and filtered a lot of these games. A good question would be, what happens when these games get reported? Did these organizations report these games? Did these games get taken down or reviewed in any way whatsoever? Because if they were reviewed and looked at and still left on, that's different than if Google can just claim ignorance of the whole scenario. The article continues, the business model for the Play Store family section benefits advertisers, developers, and Google at the expense of children and parents, says Josh Golan, executive director for the Campaign for a Commercial-Free Childhood. Google put its seal of approval on apps that break the law, manipulate kids into watching ads, and making purchases. This isn't the first time this year Google has been scrutinized for its children's section. In September, a New Mexico lawsuit accused the company of similarly allowing apps and games marketed towards children, specifically those developed by a studio called Tiny Lab to collect location and demographic data, which was then shared with ad companies such as MoPub, AdMob, AppLovin, and others. Again, this really comes down to, I think, can Google really claim ignorance to this, or are these just a bunch of scam games that are getting flooded? Like, maybe Google's Play Store should be a little bit more of a curated experience. Like, even though we're in the middle of complaining about Steam curating their experience with the adult games, like, I think for starters, the Google and the Android Play Store should have been more of a curated thing. But I don't know why this is really targeting Google per se instead of targeting those game companies. Like, it really seems like you're shooting the wrong person. I was gonna try to use the shooting the messenger analogy, but that's not right. It seems like you're definitely targeting the publisher and not focusing on the developer. When it should, at the very least, be on similar. He says, "Thank you, bro." Let's see. He typed in "thank you" twice, so I'll type in "welcome" just to be kind. The article continues. Additionally, the FTC was asked to investigate YouTube in April of this year for similar reasons. Data collection of children under 13 that created what Jeff Chester, director of the Center for Digital Democracy, referred to as an ad-filled digital playground. Quote, "These issues very seriously and continues to work hard to remove." I think this is supposed to be Google's response saying, "We take these issues very seriously and continue to work hard to remove any content that's inappropriately aimed at children from our platform," said a Google spokesman in a statement regarding to the recent FTC complaint. "Parents want their children to be safe online, and we work hard to protect them. Apps in our Designed for Families program have to comply with strict policies on content, privacy, and advertising, and we take action on any policy violations that we find," a Google spokesman said in a statement. And see, there is this issue, and I certainly ran into it when I was looking for a couple of new apps on myself on the Google Play Store. I ran into a lot of comic book management apps that wanted money in an environment and for software that I just am not willing to actually spend money on. So, like, I can totally get that there's just way too many apps that are too simplistic to really be worth anything, and there's way too many greedy apps, way too many apps that are showing ads. Now, personally, I fixed any app that shows ads by just having an ad blocker on my entire Wi-Fi network, which blocks almost all ads for every device connected to the internet. But certainly, I think it's reasonable and realistic to not to want your kids to not see any ads in their childhood at all, because their minds are extremely flippant. It's just that people, they see something, they want something. It doesn't matter that they haven't seen it before or don't have a clue what it is. It doesn't matter if it's something as cheap as a cardboard box or as expensive as like a brand new Rolls Royce. Like, they see it, they want it. That's just how the world works. But again, I also would say Google's kind of lying. That they have really failed on YouTube's side to protect or admit that YouTube is full of a lot of kids content that is also advertisement. Like Ryan's Toy Reviews is a great example of that. That's, yes, it's not perhaps intentionally advertising toys, but it definitely is advertising toys. That's just what it is.
Reporting for duty.
So, like, a lot of kids' content's built around toys. A lot more than would be legal. Like, none of that was legal at one time. On TV. Like, all the cartoons used to not be able to sell or have commercials for the toys of their own cartoon even. But that's certainly been whittled away to the point where corporations in the United States are trying to turn the next generation, like they have turned previous generations, into droning, insane consumerists who will always be drowned in a massive amount of debt, will always be suffering from having an unfulfilled life and desires just because they've been taught to be greedy. There we go. Alright, so now at this point we just need to make a Murloc deck. Like, this Murloc Paladin is not a Murloc Paladin like before. I did this on my main account. I need to just change this to a Shield Paladin because that's really what it is. And then I just need to come over here and, well, let's see what this custom shaman is. Is this Murloc's? No. This is Overload. So we'll type in that name, and then we'll make another one, which just also will be a shaman.
If you make a wild deck, you can only use it in wild games.
Let's see. You cannot get that guy to go away. Alright. This probably won't work as well as I would like it to, but we still should be able to do pretty well. I may just have to live with grabbing some less useful Murloc cards. I'm not sure if playing this actually counts as playing as a Murloc thing for the daily quest. As a Murloc. Alright, so we've got 30 Murlocs in there. Come over here and select this, and start playing. Gamasutra has an article, video, micro postmortems, the process of developing vastly different games. Well, that sounds boring.
Versus Jaina.
And it is just a video, so I'll leave that. Hey, I'll take a free victory any day of the week, but really didn't need it. Not in that instance. Try that again. So we've got this game on Steam called Wonderland Trails, which seems like all you're doing is changing the direction in which people move. So it seems like it's a kind of resource management, character directing puzzle game. This seems incredibly simplistic. Like, it is widescreen, I'll give it that much, but like, you really can see how this is just a cell phone game where you would tap. It's just way too simple. 40% off for $1.19. Yeah, sorry, but games need to be a little bit more complicated than that to make it to the follow list. Next, we have a game on Steam called Atrocity, which says it's an adventure RPG simulation. What does it look like? Real world pictures with what looks kind of like a visual novel things. And these might be actual photos. Yeah, this animation style seems a little off. Giant text for like, that's one sentence taking up 2 lines. So we can go back to this. Seems like you're going to some kind of Russian gulag for this adventure. $8.49. Doesn't look like we've got real quality here. So let me see what this developer's made. Otherwise, nothing. Alright. Yeah, well, Atrocity's not making it to the fall list. Sorry. This game is an interesting idea. Poker tower defense. But it looks more like poker dice than actual poker. Or like any kind of poker. Yeah. So it's like they're combining 2 very simplistic styles of games. No, I don't think so though. This is educational games, you say? Poker and tower defense? That's the name of the developer. 40% off for $1.79. I bet this developer has made several other games, yes. And most are mixed. Yep. So yeah, that's not a quality product either. Job done. Next, we have a game on Steam called Fire and Fury English Civil War, which I've seen a couple of these games like this recently, and none of them look quite good enough to make me want to play it. I wonder about a Civil War game. Like, I could see playing some first-person shooter set in the Civil War style game if it was really well written, but most Civil War games are not that. They're these tabletop simulation looking things that look awful. This is $8.99 discounted, and yeah, this is just not visually appealing. And if it's not visually appealing, then I don't want to have anything to do with it. TechRaptor has an article. 343 Industry teams up with Limbitless, Limbitles, for a Halo prosthetic. So it's like a prosthetic arm that is specially painted to look like Master Chief's arm. These arms are, quote, fully functional and capable of gripping objects, and various gestures are created and fitted to the children. So, the thing, as I understand it in the United States, is that insurance will not pay for prosthetic limbs for children under a certain age, just because they claim, well, they grow out of it. I mean, it's really really dumb and mean to just save a few bucks, which is all that is, because that means that these children who could be during this period of time learning how to use a prosthetic limb that they will probably need for the rest of their life, instead are missing out in the point where they could be getting very good at learning how to use their limbs, in the same way that kids, fully limbed children learn how to use their limbs by running, playing, and doing sports and such. Instead, they miss out, and then they have to go through a considerable amount of therapy when they're older and fitted for a prosthetic. There are quite a few charities out there, certainly, that do try to fit children for little to no cost with a prosthetic. I don't know if it's always going to be the right occasion and appropriate to do a Master Chief prosthetic. I mean, honestly, when you think about it, it's kind of silly, because this is not... These would be younger kids that really have no connection to the Halo series at all. It's a nothing series as far as most kids are concerned, because there hasn't been a Halo game out for a long time, and Halo was always mature, or at least teen plus. I doubt any teenager would want a Master Chief limb, so it's kind of a silly thought, but I get the idea there. They're trying to at least look like they're doing something good. It might just be a little bit of virtue signaling, but it doesn't sound terrible, unless somebody digs into it and sees that actually, no, it is terrible, because they're charging a license fee for every limb made or something ridiculous like that, or getting kickbacks in some way. Next we have a game on Steam called Tank Blazers, which looks like a bunch of tanks shooting each other. The camera seems to zoom in and zoom out kind of wildly. It seems like it's a multiplayer only game. $3.99. Yeah. And because it's a multiplayer game, it's already out of contention. But I think in general too, this is like a simplistic party game idea using tanks that aren't really recognizable or interesting to look at. So I don't think anybody would really want to play this. There's a lot of other party games out there that are probably better than that. I keep winning. It's nice to win, certainly. Maybe we'll get a win streak, but it's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to play freaking Murlocs. Next, we have a game on Steam called QOP4, which I believe this is a whole series. This is, you have a box, you have to slide it in certain ways to get there. I'm not sure if I have this on my wish list or not. This is from the developer who made Zup and the many Zup games. So this is one of these developers that's making some pretty low effort games and flooding Steam with them. They're not clearly getting the ire of Steam or Valve, because Valve doesn't seem like they care, but clearly they are not really designed to be a game, a complete game experience. They're designed to be these very cheap 60-cent games that they sell. Their entire bundle here is $14, and they have 100 achievements, so they're achievement games. So yeah, the first goal is clearly not to sell a quality product. So if I do have that game on my wish list, it's time for me to take it off. Like, there's better things I can be doing with my time. Let's see. Let's go ahead and start with a charge, I guess. Next we have a game on Steam called Jubo Key, which looks not very polished on its 3D animation. Seems like you just kind of fly around, and it's very basic health and energy bars, basic menus. It kind of just looks like it's like a half-polished asset flip game. Infinite runner style game with a bunch of weirdness around it. It's $2.24 discounted right now. And I guess we could look at this publisher and see if they've published anything else. No, they haven't. I don't really even want to click on these developers. See, I think there's a thought here that they're actually making a decent game, or they're trying to make a decent game, but really they're just making an infinite runner. But I guess if you are making a low effort infinite runner, you would try to sell yourself as, oh no, we're just indie developers and this is just all we could do. So please bear with it and buy it anyways to support the small time indie developers. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article, Ashen Review -Light Souls, which it's Ashen, A-S-H-E-N. It looks like Ashwin, the way it's typed. Let's see, draw 2 cards. There we go. In the turn. Yeah, and I'd heard that Ashen does kind of feel like a Dark Souls game in appearance at least, but it kind of doesn't play as difficult as a Dark Souls game, so maybe that would be interesting. Ashen's quality minimalistic art style help inspire fellow Souls-like game Absolver. It says, so TechRaptor gave it an 8.5 grade. Ashen is a quality Souls-like with a nice art style and some great ideas about seamless and anonymous online co-op. The dungeons are memorable and the evolving town is awesome, and the increased focus on quests provide a nice touch. Pros, satisfying Souls-like gameplay, co-op is effective and well executed, evolving town is a really neat location, and challenging and memorable dungeons. Cons, the AI companions can be erratic and unresponsive. So I don't know if Ashen is on Steam or not, but I guess I'll look at it and consider adding it to the wish list. Seems like that's a kind of resolve.
My hand is too full.
A good review.
My hand is too full.
Let's see. Don't have a ton of news left, but I'm taking my time doing it. It's gonna take a while to just get the daily quest done is the deal. So if I can get the Murloc daily quest done and I don't get the Wintervale daily quest done, I'm just gonna skip over to the Asian account. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article. Agartha-S launches December 27th in Japan. It's apparently an action simulation puzzle game. All I'm seeing right now is like a really pixely looking thumbnail, so I have no idea what this game is, but it doesn't look that interesting. It's coming to the Switch via the Nintendo eShop, so it's probably not that interesting. Anyways,
I wonder.
Let's see. This, and then this, and then this, hit these two. Next we have a game on Steam called Pinkura, which says it's a strategy action game. Looks like it might be a dungeon crawler. Not sure. I'm not sure if this is a VR game either. Let's see. Doesn't say anything about VR. Seems like you're wandering around some kind of horror cave facility location. Travel to a distant alien world through an ancient singularity. Settle your base, build helpful bots, craft equipment, and seek out answers from a lost civilization. That's not what I was expecting when I see this. This looks like a horror game to me. There's like a lot of video here. Yeah, this is one of those games that promises so much that you just have to wait and see what the reviews are. Early access, $9.99. Put it on the follow list, see what happens. Like, it seems like there might be something there, but also it could just be all smoke and mirrors. There we go. Play. Let's do this. That and that. Job done. TechRaptor has this article that's kind of just what we already know. Dark clouds on the horizon for Blizzard's Heroes of the Storm after cutting esports and moving team members. Yeah, from what I had heard from some questionable sources that may not have been accurate, but they seem to have been accurate. It seems like a lot of employees who worked on Heroes of the Storm are desperately trying to get transferred to other positions, and they're having trouble getting hired on or transferred. The Giant Bomb guy in charge, I think his name is Jeff Grossman, had an interesting reaction here. Basically, like, this is way too much of a editorializing and oversimplification, so listen to the Giant Bombcast yourself for his real response. But it basically came off a lot like, quit whining, you crybabies, because you were an esports player and all of the Heroes of the Storm esports sections were being funded and run by Blizzard, and then they canceled them all without giving any like notification to anybody. Like, he's just like, basically quit whining because you got screwed over. I'm like, I'm not sure where that would really come from, that opinion, other than just the direct mainstream video game journalists now think anybody and everybody, esports players or just your average video game players, are nothing but whiny babies and toxic masculine chauvinists. I mean, just a ever increasing disdain for people who play video games is coming from people who review video games. And his argument was really, really stupid at one point, because he's like, it sounds like you were only playing the game because you were getting paid. And I'm like, Jeff, that's you. You only play video games because you get played at Giant Bomb. That's every single video game reviewer. It's like, there's tons of games that video game reviewers would not play if they weren't getting paid. So, I mean, just a lack of like compassion, a lack of realizing what he was saying was slightly hypocritical. And again, I think I said it last stream, this is probably the last year I'll be listening to the Giant Bomb cast into the year review. I imagine by the end of 2019 I will have stopped listening to Giant Bomb altogether. Because they're just getting less and less about video games, and their opinions are getting further and further away from being anywhere close to being in line with what I think an average video game player is interested in. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article, Fallout Shelter Guide, What You Need to Succeed, which is interesting, I suppose, but why would you want to start playing Fallout Shelter now? Like, that's the question. This is really just a repost, I guess. Or maybe an update to a previous guide.
A tale of terrible tragedy.
Let's see. Yeah, I could not see a reason why you would want to play Fallout Shelter, with Fallout 76 being so bad, and with everything else that Bethesda is doing to just ruin the Fallout series. Fallout 4 not being that good, and Fallout Shelter being full of microtransactions. Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense at all. Moving on. Where are we? Just still trying to play Murlocs. Gamatsu has an article. Let's see. Amekata wa Konojo Nari ni coming to the Switch January 24th, 2019 in Japan. Demo available now. It previously launched for the PlayStation 4 and PS Vita on October 26th, following an initial release on PC February 2016. It's now coming to the Nintendo eShop for 4,980 yen. Let's see. It's a visual novel, and I suppose the girl is in a Japanese schoolgirl outfit. See, there's a problem with that concept alone, because literally it's I don't know what students in college wear that would look any different from what students in high school in Japan wear. I don't think there's really any difference there. It's always like the sailor style uniform that they adopted a long time ago. Sure, I will definitely say that if these people were supposed to be working at a job, they'd be either wearing a uniform or a suit. But before then, you just kind of don't know. So that gets back to the idea: what's the difference between changing the word school to academy? Like, still playing Murlocs. Anyways, seems like every visual novel gets right back down to Steam's random censoring of visual novels, which, like, I'm pretty sure we're not going to see any. Pretty sure we're not going to see any approved this week, or I'm pretty sure we didn't see maybe 1 or 2 approved last week. So it really is a 100% ban. Like, next we have a game on Steam called Dragon Hunter Champions. This looks like this is probably a MOBA clone, and it's probably a cheap Chinese one. Like, this looks like a fighting game character just being... What? No, actually, that's actually King of Fighters. I was like, that looks like from King of Fighters. And I'm like, no, well, it actually is from them. It's from Gameloft, so I guess it's maybe not a cheap Chinese ripoff. It's just a Gameloft, probably not that good game. Free to play, and in-app purchases. It doesn't look particularly interesting for an RPG hack and slash type game. Let's go ahead and play this. You can see this game is already at mixed reviews. Let's see what else Gameloft has made. Like Dragon Hunter Champion, Sniper Fury, Modern Combat. Yeah, every single one of these are free-to-play mixed review games. So Gameloft is not doing a good job as far as quality. But then you also have like this Fox Girl and such, and this is an English MOBA that just has interface for Japanese, but it's clearly on English and French as far as the main countries that the developers are from, and so it gets approved. Whereas if this exact same game was from a Japanese company, exact same content, I don't think it would have gotten approved at this point. I think there's a severe double standard happening here. But maybe I'm getting a little too extreme on it. That is also possible. Yeah, it's an interesting question. What do you do when somebody lies to you? When they tell you they're going to do one thing and they do the other? Inherently, you should cut them out of your life, I guess. But what do you do when a company lies to you? Because they're all lying to you. It's like you can only boycott so many things until the point where you're not buying anything, which probably work fine for most situations. Moving on, Game Industry.biz has got its continued series, I suppose is what we'll call it, of People of the Year series. This article is People of the Year Epic Games. Despite a year peppered with controversies, the Fortnite developers' influence on 2018 remains undeniable. So yeah, GameIndustry.biz is going to mention quite a few of these companies. GameIndustry.biz has another article, Old Ways Can Still Be the Best Ways. Why I Love Yo-Yo Games. Mike Daly explains how tech from 1988 Commodore 64 shooter Armorlight is still used today. So that sounds slightly interesting if I had time to read it, but I don't. So let's see. Why I Love is a series of guest editorials on GameIndustry.biz. Oh, so it should have been a colon there instead of an apostrophe. There's almost certainly a ton of old technologies that have just been built on and adapted on forever in programming in general, so it wouldn't be surprising that we'd run into some games still using the same old technology. Next we have a game on Steam called Alicia Quartermain 3 Mystery of the Flaming Gold. This looks like, if I was to guess, a hidden object game. It's from Jet Dogs, and it's not a hidden object game. It's a move characters around, manage resource game, which also is not particularly interesting. It's discounted for $2.69. Yep. Definitely not falling under the category of interesting. See, whenever a friendly minion mark dies, draw a card. Alright, yeah. Let's see what happens there. Gematsu has an article. Outward launches March 26, 2019. The open world fantasy adventure game is dated. This is from publishers Deep Silver and Maximum Games and developer 9 Dot Studio. It will launch on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC March 26, 2019. There's a trailer here I guess I could look at. Are we even on the Asian account at this point? I don't think we are. So I think what I'm going to have to do is play off screen at a certain point, because I just don't think I'm going to get this stuff done. I'm going to run out of news. And after a certain point, it does wear down my throat to talk so much. Odds were not high I was going to get any other work done as far as recording today anyways. So yeah, I'm watching this trailer of Outworld. It looks like it's a pretty nice looking RPG, group RPG style game. Might be like an attempt at the next Skyrim or something like that. Maybe it will succeed, maybe it won't. I don't know if anybody even really wants the next Skyrim to be something that exists, but that is certainly a thought. Gematsu has an article. Arcade Archives Donkey Kong Jr. for the Switch launches December 21st in Japan. Another Nintendo arcade release from Hamster. Hamster release Arcade Archives Donkey Kong Jr. for the Switch December 21st for 823 yen. Seems like Nintendo in its online service has also continued to make special save files that let the game be a little bit more playable and a little bit more easy to beat, on top of just the regular old games being emulated. So I don't know if Donkey Kong Jr. is particularly too hard to get to the end screen. It probably is. I wouldn't imagine if it... Man, still I need like 4 more Murlocs and 4 more cards. So, 1 more game and then we'll be done with both of them. Might even concede just to save time after I play like 5 cards. Next we have Soccer Manager 2019. Seems like there's quite a few of these soccer football managers coming out. This actually looks like this might just be a football manager game we've already even looked at, just being rebranded as Soccer Manager to sell some more. It's a free-to-play game, full of in-app purchases, I'm sure. And yep, I'm not going to play a game like this in 2019, and I probably wouldn't want to play this game anyways, because I kind of want to see the guys run around. Even if I'm just playing a management game, I kind of want to see some action and some movement there. Let's see. Gamasutra has an article. Get a job. Infinity Ward is looking for a view model animator. That job is in Woodland Hills, California.
The legions I command.
Let's see. GameIndustry.biz has an article. GameIndustry.biz presents the year in numbers 2018. I'm gonna go ahead and play this here. The global games market value, most watched YouTube videos, biggest mobile games, and more. Let's see. What's weird is it says you can check out the year numbers below, and desktop users should be able to click for a larger version. Update: we've updated the infographic to more clearly credit some of the experts that helped us and reflect the official YouTube stats. There's nothing here. That whatever image they're trying to show is not loading up. I think particularly because GameIndustry.biz's images are like through an ad server or something, and so they're just getting blocked as ads. It's not usually an issue, but apparently in this case it is. So I cannot cover any of these numbers. I don't think it really would matter too much though. Even if I could cover this, it's just going to be some kind of boring statistics more than anything else. Let's see. Take that one out, do that, and take that one out, I guess. Gamatsu has an article. Let me see if I can pronounce this. Yume Utsu Remaster adds a PS4 physical edition for Japan. The visual novel is due out for February of 2019. That's quite a long Japanese word. Yume Utsu Su. Let's see if we can get any more information about it. Previously only the PS Vita and PC versions.
I wonder.
Play and then continue. Only the PS4 and PC versions of the Kugado Studio developed, quote, bubbly cute girls love game development company adventure visual novel were announced to have physical editions, while the PlayStation 4 and Switch versions would only have digital releases. The Switch version remains digital only. Unlike the PS Vita version, the PS4 version will not receive a limited edition, only the standard edition like the PC version. So looking at the thumbnail here, it does look like it is... Oh, actually, I think this is probably slightly informative about what I've been talking about, too. Right.
Job's done.
So, we'll come over here, and hopefully nothing will show too offensive. This is what their visual novels animate people who are working in a job. These characters could easily be 16, 17 years old if you want to look at them that way, as much as any of the other characters can. And you can see, since they're kind of running their own business, they're wearing dresses and button-down shirt and jeans, and then you have a couple that are dressed as maids, so I'm kind of assuming that they're probably in like a maid cafe, and these three actually work in the same company, and these are just waiters and waitresses, or maybe they start off as waitresses and join later.
I wonder.
So theoretically, as we're looking at this picture, let's say this character isn't, none of these characters are 17 or 18 if you don't want to look at them that way. Let's say that they are 21, 23, 25, they're fresh out of college.
I wonder.
So, like, they still look the same. Like, how can you tell when they're not real people, when they're cartoons, when you can make them, when they're not being animated in any way to look like a real human being in the first place? Like, how can you tell? These could be people that are in college. These could be people that are in high school. These could be that they're in high school and they're just not wearing their school uniforms. What does it all matter when it's cartoons anyways? Seems just so ridiculous.
See now the power of the Dark Fallen.
Of course, I have to keep harping them on about it until it gets addressed. Or I just give up and get bored of it. Whichever happens first. But if you give up and get bored of it, that's exactly what people who would like to censor everything in the world would like. Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Hellfront Honeymoon, and some of these people in this video look like they might be YouTubers. Like, let's see if we can jump back here. Like, this might be Jesse Cox right there.
I wonder.
Like, this guy that we're gonna see in a second, like, he might be a YouTuber streamer too. These two might be YouTube streamers too. Like, these could all be famous YouTube streamers, and they're selling like a top-down twin stick party shooter game for $8.49, and it says a single player, but I think it's for the most part going to be multiplayer. I don't see anything particularly interesting about this game, but we'll have to see if it turns out that these are actually famous people. Gamasutra has an article, How to Turn Your Mod into a Indie Game by Nick Pierce, which this is the mod developer. Man, I don't know why Gamasutra started crashing like this. It's from the developer who made the Forgotten City mod for Skyrim that then turned it into its own game. And I think that was a smart move, frankly, in his part. Let's see, this. I could kill this, but I don't know what else I could do. Let's go ahead and just play this and hope for a taunt. We have a game on Steam called Mahjong Fest Winterland, which is just a Mahjong solitaire game that looks not very detailed. It looks fuzzy as far as the resolution is concerned. Looks just kind of like a cell phone game, and I don't think I'd ever be sold on buying a Mahjong game, particularly not one that is $5.99 discounted. That is incredibly high as far as a price. And I'm sure this developer's made some other Mahjong games, like a lot of them, and none of them have even gotten enough to get reviews on them. Kinda need to hurry up at this point just to finish this. Draw some cards. Give me a Murloc. Let's see. Draw 2 Murlocs from your deck. Taunt. Let's see. What are we gonna kill? Can't kill that, so we'll do this. This. So we have a game on Steam called Space Struck Run, which looks like a side-scroll shoot-'em-up game. Doesn't look like it's animated very well. It's got some very busy background. You know, just a black space for space is perfectly fine. Maybe a little bit of stars. That's all it really needs to be. Oh, apparently this is not a shoot 'em up. It is a infinite runner on spaceships for no real reason. It's 59 cents discounted. Yep, that is not in any way interesting. Let's see. Probably gonna lose this next turn. Should be fine. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called The Black Knight, which is looks like it's a lane defense kind of what would you call it? Plants vs. Zombies style game. I have been trying to keep an eye out for a interesting or good looking Plants vs. Zombies game. This does not seem well, and it's selling itself as it only takes 10 minutes to complete the game. That's ridiculously short. 84 cents discounted. Like a decent amount of bugs, sorry. Yeah, alright. So, not interested in that game.
Well played.
Gematsu has an article, Sakuna of Rice and Ruin dialogue gameplay. So if you want to check that out, it's a video showing off the dialogue. I'm still kind of sold on Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, at least until I see some reviews on it. We've got a game on Steam called Skater XL. This is early access. I feel like this was already on my wish list, list. I'd totally be into playing a skater game since I haven't played a skater game in a very long time, and like there hasn't been really a good one on consoles for a very long time. And this is already rated very positive in early access, $19.99. So yeah, this can go on the fall list. Once it comes out of early access, I'd be willing to try it out. We played 50 Murlocs and we got our card packs, which is great. We may not be in as bad of a position as I think, because I may have most of the Winter Veil daily quest already done on the Asian account. So yeah, this might work out a little bit easier. We may just have to do like the Tavern Brawl on the Asian account, and then we'll be done. I have about 6 more things to talk about. And we are getting to the point where we're doing like 2-hour episodes, which might be the way to go in the future. It's like I have so many Hearthstone videos extra and everything else is just so far behind. That doesn't mean I should slow down on making Hearthstone videos, but it also, I don't see a major reason to schedule things a year in advance for Hearthstone and nothing else. So how many of those? Like 1 new card out of 20 cards. So let's see if we can find it without having to type in the key phrase new. It's probably the legendary if I was to guess. Yep. That was the new one. So now let's switch over to the Asian account. I don't know why it's taken me so long to get things done today, other than the fact that there was a Tavern Brawl and a special quest.
Pull up a chair by the hearth.
Alright, so yeah, I have 7 more cards here. Win 3 Tavern Brawls and play 20 Murlocs. if I come over here and re-roll this, play 20 Murlocs, win 2 games as a rogue, I think I can actually pull this off kind of easily. We come over here, we choose rogue, we play our same strategy as far as legendary cards only. Just come over here, we pick the most expensive ones. Got like 10. I want to get too low here. Let's come take this one and this one and this one. 2. And we got 4 more, so take that and take that and take that. And take that. Okay. Let's do this. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article. Wizard Symphony details dungeon exploration, quests, and growth. Wizard Symphony looks like a standard dungeon crawler style of game. Japanese dungeon crawlers that seem to still have a market. I'm kind of surprised.
Valera versus Lunara.
Maybe they're just simplistic. Wizard Symphony is due out for the PS4 and Switch in Japan February 28th. So it doesn't seem like there's a PC version coming out. At least not right now. So we don't want this. And we don't want this. We'll hold on to this. So we've got a game on Steam called Murasaki Tsurugi, which may be a Japanese game or maybe a Chinese game. It's a bullet hell shooter. So all of the characters are in traditional like garb instead of modern clothing. So that's probably why it got approved, but also the animation here is pretty awful looking. I'm gonna have to end the turn. And yeah, this standard bullet hell shooter issues of just not being the game for me. Yep, English Japanese game. Let's go ahead and play that. So yeah, just not for me, not gonna make it. PlayHearthstone.com had the upcoming balances update for December 18th article if you want to go into more detail on what got nerfed, but frankly we already covered it at the beginning of the stream and there's not really any different information there. So
let's show our guests a good
time. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article. Ys 9 Monstrum Nox has been announced for the PS4, due out 2019 in Japan. Let's see. It takes place... Nah, I'm not going to try to explain the story to it. It's too complicated and I don't know the Ys story. I'm trying to figure out though if this is part of a Ys 9 series or if this is Ys 9 period and the subtitle Monstrum Nox is just what its subtitle is, because it could be kind of either one.
Here we go.
Let's go ahead and keep on playing. The main screenshot shows what looks like a monster girl anime character. I think she might have a gun. I think in the background in the darkness there's a couple of monsters or gargoyles or something. It says it's set in a huge city known as Prison City. A new adventure surrounding the mysterious hidden in the city will unfold alongside people called Monstrum who possess supernatural abilities. Yi series trademarks a speedy action, diverse skill attacks, fresh dashes and jumps, and battles against giant bosses will return alongside numerous new elements connected to the Yi's 9 setting, including the use of supernatural actions of Monstrum to freely explore areas of the field, guild operations in Prison City, and more. Right, are we ready to switch? Or did they switch? What's happening here? Why don't I have that card? It didn't. I don't understand what happened here. Like,
here we go.
Somehow we didn't trade decks. So what are we doing? What is the Tavern Brawl quest that's happening on the Asian account if it's not trading decks? Or did the game just glitch? I'm confused. I'm gonna have to play this a couple times, so I'll figure it out eventually. Next enemy spells cost 0. Let's see. Deal 5 damage. Destroy an undamaged minion. I play that. Do that. Do that. And do that. And then the turn. Well, we have a game on Steam called 1 Minute Death, which looks horrible. Looks like it's a jumping Super Meat Boy attempted clone. Just, yeah, looks terrible. Totally terrible. It's discounted to $8.99, and yeah, that one's not making it to the wish list. Alright. Well, this should win. Unless my numbers are wrong.
I can't win them all.
So that's one victory. Let's see. We'll give you 10 random spells, then gift it to your opponent. Let's see who wants to swap back. I don't feel like I got a swap back card. Is this because Asian countries would find it incredibly offensive to swap back a gift? But it didn't seem like it switched either. It just didn't seem like it worked at all anyways. Well, we got about 5 more things to talk about. Gamatsu has an article, romance visual novel Summer Pockets coming to the Switch in spring 2019 in Japan.
Versus Garrosh.
Let's see. What can we say about Summer Pockets? First launch for PC June 29th, and iOS and Android version are also planned for release. That's slightly interesting. I guess the idea of doing a visual novel on a cell phone might be really appealing, and this might be the solution in the end. I'm fairly certain Apple would have a problem with a lot of the adult sex visual novel games out there, but if you're gonna sideload them to an Android app, that might be doable. In fact, one of the game developers that already has been basically banned from Steam, has decided to make their own storefront. Now, it's not certain that they're actually planning on selling any products other than their own, but their website is going to have a new storefront to avoid these types of issues, or try to avoid these types of issues.
Job's done.
But that's really not the solution. Now, as for this romance visual novel Summer Pockets, it doesn't say particularly on Gamatsu. Usually they don't go into great detail about what age range or that they're going for this. Let's see, shuffle, draw a card. What does this say? This would... Would this work well right now? I don't think so. We want to swap back first, then play that. So again, we'll, at risk of showing something off, show what... This is from Clannad Studio, Key. So, these characters probably are junior high or high school characters, you would guess. But it's the summertime, so they're not in their uniforms. So would Steam allow it then? Or is this, or it could be the exact opposite. It could be these characters are actually 18, 19, 20 and they're just drawn in the cute moe style, which is all the rage right now. And so they're designed to be unrealistically short and just not at the right height or proportions compared to a normal person. Who can tell? It's just a cartoon. It could be any age. It's any age you want. It may come to a surprise to the same people who are running Steam's approval process that most of those porno actors, the real world porno actors, aren't really 18 when they say they're 18. Like, let's see. The focus a little bit, I think, maybe. Alright, so now is the switch back. Six split among 6 other friendly minions. Okay, so that works fine. So we have a game on Steam called The End. It's a very simple visual novel about a simple man in a simple world with simple problems. Dark humor, violent adventure. And here we have kind of a Western pencil sketch art style that's not very good. And
so many options.
yeah, it's just a standard visual novel thing. $2.39, not particularly interested in it. English and Polish. Let's see.
So many
I can play this now. And I can do this. And I can do this. I can have my turn. We have a game on Steam called Rats, Bats, and Bones, which looks like a really old school PC game of sorts with just like really ugly old style animations, pixel graphics. Looks like it's a tower defense game. Yeah, another tower defense game using low effort animation. I guess I have to applaud this game for actually animating stuff itself instead of just going out and probably buying things from the Unity Asset Store. but that's about all I can applaud. $12.74 discounted and in early access. That is ridiculously expensive. Let's see, Battlecry, give your opponent a coin.
Many options.
Let's see how that works. Deal 2 damage to people in return. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called Throne Quest, which looks like it's probably not an RPG maker, but a just bad looking RPG of sorts with some top-down twin-stick shooting. Guess there's probably a better way to describe this, but yeah, doesn't look interesting in any way. $3.99. Just the polish on the graphics. It looks like a Gauntlet clone, I guess is the better way to describe it. Alright, I could do 13 damage right now, so I only need a couple more. But I need to also protect myself. So let's do this.
Here we go.
Let's see, 7, 8. I'm just gonna play a little overkill here for protection. Gamasutra has an article. Smash Brothers Ultimate has sold over 3 million copies in the United States. Good for it. Honestly though, if I was going to get a Switch right now, I am still very much in the feeling that I would like to play
I must remain hidden.
like I would really like to play Let's Go Pikachu Eevee. Throw a weapon at a minion. Alright, let's attack once.
Here we go.
First. Do that. And then do that. And so now I'm on the Humble Bundle store, which has the Sonic the Hedgehog, the Humble Sonic Bundle, which if you pay $1 or more, you get Sonic 4 Episode 1, Sonic Adventures DX, Sonic CD, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle Beast DLC. If you pay more than the average of $7.20, you get Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transform Collection, Sonic Lost Worlds, Sonic Generations Collection, and Sonic the Hedgehog Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2. And if you pay $15 or more, you get Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces. So, I just, through randomness, a lot of people, including myself, I imagine, have a lot of these, have a lot of these Sonic games or bits and pieces of the Sonic series. So, I don't know if this would really be a good deal for me or not. If somebody bought this bundle and they had some Sonic games and they saw that they weren't, and they wanted to like DM them, direct message them to me on Twitter, I could try them and see if they worked and let you know if they worked or not, if you have duplicates. A lot of these bundles get down to that point where it's like, oh, I could use half of these games and half of these games I already have. There's quite a few codes in my library on Humble Bundle that just don't, like, I don't need because I already have the game. So, yeah. So at some point I kind of planned on doing something with that and giving away codes, but I'm still don't have time to figure out a way to be fair. I don't have enough people that are watching at any one point for it to be fair in general. I don't have enough codes that I'm sure would work that also would make it like an event of some sort. I don't think I could do like a 13 days of Christmas
Valera
style
versus Anduin.
of
The light
special.
shall bring victory.
Watch your back.
Let's see, I am scrolling down my Twitter feed and I think I've already seen everything. Like, that's new in the past couple of hours. So this probably will be our last game. I can just play off screen one more ranked victory or 2 more ranked victories if I don't win this game. The only thing I suppose that could happen is if we have a quick victory. And I suppose we could say the plan still is kind of to stick to the regular streaming schedule of some sort for next week or the next few days, and as Christmas and end of the year happens, there might be an extra video. There should be an end of the year extra video, but
Too soon.
like that's kind of it. And those streams, if they're on a holiday, might not be super long. And it might just be like me jumping up and
One shot, one.
it might be me just saying, okay, I'm here, I'm gonna stream for an hour, and then I'm giving up to do other things. So no promises, sorry. So I think I've hit the infinite scroll on Twitter, which tells me I'd have to load and reload. I guess we can do that. The Gearbox News Network retweets my Borderlands episodes, and it's always weird to see that name and think, oh yeah, is that actually Gearbox retweeting me? And I'm like, no, it's not. It's a unrelated people who just happen to have the name Gearbox in their name. I'll be really interested to hear if people actually do get into playing Borderlands 2 in VR on the PlayStation VR. That would be actually really amazing. I just don't think the timing is right for something like that. Let's see. Destroy your weapon, deal that damage to everyone. How about we do this instead? Oops, I had 4 mana, I could have done something else. I totally ended that turn way too early. And just like, yeah, scrolling down my Twitter feed for no reason really. I've already hit the point where I'm seeing repeated stuff. Yeah. Okay, I wanted to see how this works.
Here we go.
So what does he have? I think he just gained a battle cry that wouldn't actually activate. Is I think all he did. But he got some attacks, so. Whenever you play a card.
You are not prepared. Feeding time.
Yeah, there's literally no reason for me to continue to scroll down. I'm not gonna see anything new. It's just slow. I'm unwilling to just really recognize and admit it's just slow because it's the end of the year. There aren't these hidden gems coming out on Steam that you're missing. Of course, Twitter will certainly abide and just constantly give you more and more to look at, although it does eventually run out. Well, I guess I didn't mention that 2B is now available on the sword fighting game, if I can remember the name of that. 2B from Nier Automata is now playable.
The menagerie is for guests only.
Who shall be next?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the sword fighting game. I'd be willing to play the sword fighting game with, what is her name? Velvet? Can't remember any of it at all. Alright, well, I think this is probably as good of a place to wrap up as any. Like, I'm gonna just have to play off screen a couple of games to get the Tavern Brawl done. We have these new packs. There's a couple of games that I'll just hold on to until... Ooh, a legendary. Nice. Could we possibly hope for a golden legendary or two legendaries?
Legendary.
Two legendaries in a row has happened. It's not likely to happen, but it has happened. Suppose Friday is also going to be a bit of a shorter experience if we can get away with that. Because tomorrow I'll probably stream a special video for the Steam Winter Sale. Standard e-begging, hey, if you want to support my channel, right now is the time for you to friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list because they're all on sale. So, about 4 of those cards were new of the 20 packs, 20 cards we got, and then there's some of these cards that are marked as new that I don't think are actually new. So can we disenchant this for 100 dust? Not at the moment. Legendary. Just mark the rest of these. Then we had a card back that we got for beating the Tavern Brawl. That is here. We can make that our favorite. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the stream. Let's see. Here, trying to alt tab. There we go. That's gonna be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me, you can support me with the link down below through Patreon Or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist, or just a game you'd like to see me cover, or gift me a gift card. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.